the headlines of VTV News, Party General Secretary State President commences state visit to Mongolia. Landslide warning for northern and central mountainous regions. And new LDP president announces snap October election.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. Now, here's our latest updates on the Party General Secretary and State President state visit to Mongolia. Mongolian President Unajin Khureshuk hosted a welcome ceremony at the Shukbakta Square, Ulaanbaatar on Monday afternoon for Party General Secretary and State President Tolam on his state visit to Mongolia. After the ceremony, the two leaders held talks.
Party General Secretary and State President Tolam's visit is the first by a Vietnamese state president to Mongolia in 16 years, marking the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two countries. The two leaders announced the establishment of the Vietnam-Mongolia Comprehensive Partnership, marking a new stage in their relationship. The two leaders held in-depth discussions and reached key agreements on major measures to implement high-level talks. They agreed to enhance delegation exchanges, effectively implement existing cooperation mechanisms, and promote collaboration in diplomacy, defense, and justice. They also agreed to strengthen coordination against transnational crimes, participate in UN peacekeeping, and continue supporting cavalry development. The two sides agreed to enhance economic cooperation in line with each other's needs, maintain bilateral mechanisms, and strengthen trade promotion. Additionally, they will encourage investments in areas of strength, economic zones, and key industries. They agreed to strengthen cooperation in high-tech science, digital technology, innovation, artificial intelligence, climate change, mineral extraction, and animal husbandry. They will also coordinate to address logistics challenges and effectively implement signed transportation agreements. The two sides agreed to promote mechanisms for exchanging experts, lecturers, and students, enhance sharing of educational policies and digital technology, strengthen exchange programs to promote each country's culture, boost tourism and local cooperation, and foster people-to-people exchanges. After the talks, the two leaders witnessed the signing of several memoranda of understanding, including those in legal cooperation, transportation, tourism, and cybersecurity. Also included were agreements to strengthen relations between Hanoi and Ulaanbaatar, as well as between the Vietnamese and Mongolian academies and universities.
On the afternoon of September the 30th, General Secretary and State President Tolam met with Mongolian Prime Minister Ru Sanam Srein Oyun Endin, expressing satisfaction with the upgrade of their relationship to a Vietnam-Mongolia comprehensive partnership. They agreed to strengthen political trust through high-level exchanges and flexible cooperation, aiming for stable growth in economic, trade, and investment relations. General Secretary and State President Tolam congratulated Mongolian Prime Minister on his reappointment and commended Mongolia's recent achievements, particularly in its new recovery policy. He also appreciated the signing of a new cooperation memorandum between their parties, which will enhance bilateral ties. On behalf of Vietnam, he thanked Mongolia for its $200,000 support to help those affected by Typhoon Yagi. Prime Minister Un Eretel emphasized the importance of this visit for their bilateral relations and prioritized enhancing cooperation with Vietnam across various sectors, including politics, defense, trade, education, and culture, as well as at multilateral forums. During a meeting on September the 30th with Mongolian National Assembly Chairman Ama Barshalang, General Secretary and State President Tolam emphasized the need to enhance the legislative body's roles in fostering economic connections. Under the comprehensive partnership, he urged both assemblies to promote cooperation between localities, facilitate trade, and engage businesses to achieve a bilateral trade target of $200 million. Additionally, he called for increased investment activities and collaboration in diversifying raw material supply chains, along with expediting a new investment protection agreement. The two sides also agreed to strengthen protections for citizens living and working in each country, enhance cultural and sports exchanges, and share tourism information and best practices. On the afternoon of September the 30th, General Secretary and State President Tolam and Mongolian President attended the opening of Vietnamese Cultural Day in Mongolia, marking the 70th anniversary of diplomatic ties. The event celebrates the upgraded comprehensive partnership between the two nations. This is the inaugural Vietnamese Cultural Day held in Mongolia, following Mongolia's Go Mongolia program in Ho Chi Minh City last April. After the opening, both leaders enjoyed the Sắc Việt art program, showcasing Vietnam's unique traditional music. The event will run for 3 days. General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam's Central Committee, CPV, and State President Tolam has sent a message of congratulations to General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, CPC's Central Committee, and President of China, Xi Jinping, on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China, October the 1st. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn extended congratulatory messages to Chinese Premier Li Qiang and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress of China, Zhao Leiji, respectively. Vietnamese party and state leaders congratulated China on its socio-economic achievements over the past 75 years, expressing confidence in China's future success under Xi Jinping's leadership. They emphasized Vietnam's commitment to strengthening stable, friendly, and cooperative relations with China, considering it a top foreign policy priority. The leaders affirmed a readiness to work closely with China to enhance bilateral ties, deepen mutual understanding, and promote the comprehensive strategic partnership for the benefit of both countries and for regional and global peace and stability. On the occasion, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Bùi Thanh Sơn congratulated Wang Yi, China's Foreign Minister and co-chair of the Vietnam-China Steering Committee, for bilateral cooperation. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on Monday chaired a meeting between the permanent cabinet members and the steering committee for developing the project on regional and international financial centers. More on his directives in the following.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh highlighted that constructing the International and Regional Financial Center project is a new and complex challenge, requiring extensive discussion to find the best approach. The project aims to implement the party's policies and should be quick, simple, and based on the strengths of Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang. He emphasized the need for certainty in each step, learning from experience, and gradually expanding the project. He stated that the financial centers are built for the formation of a financial market and development of financial services, aimed at mobilizing financial resources for the development of the two cities in particular and the country as a whole. The Prime Minister emphasized the need to identify Vietnam's strengths to propose modern management mechanisms and effective leadership. Focus should be on finance, banking, accompanying services, and capital markets. He also highlighted the importance of adapting global financial center models to align with Vietnam's culture, political institutions, and resources to develop a unique Vietnamese model. Relevant sides must work on conditions regarding infrastructure, human resources, finance, land, and ecosystems. The government leader said the moves are intended to shape up to a healthy, safe, and integrated financial market to tap the potential and advantages of Vietnam to the fullest extent. He ordered ministries and sectors to continue consulting international models and ramp up efforts to complete the project, ensuring that it is feasible, effective, and aligned with practical conditions.
On September the 30th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính received Nick Clegg, a Meta Group's president of global foreign affairs, during his visit to Vietnam. The Prime Minister welcomed his participation in the National Innovation Festival and expressed Vietnam's desire to deepen its comprehensive strategic partnership with the U.S. while supporting Meta's plans to expand investment in the country. He called for continued collaboration with Meta, especially with the National Innovation Center in areas such as science, technology, AI, education, technology transfer, and human resource development, encouraging Vietnamese businesses to join Meta's value chain. For his part, Nick Clegg praised Vietnam's data strategy and committed to expanding investment and innovation, particularly for small and medium-sized enterprises. Coming up next, landslide warning for northern and central mountainous regions. And innovation serves as driver for development. On the afternoon of September the 30th, heavy rain affected northern mountainous areas, including Lai Châu, Lào Cai, Hà Giang, and Yên Bái, raising the risk of flash floods and landslides. In response, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính issued a directive urging the chairman of the Hà Giang People's Committee and other officials to continue efforts to mitigate the impact, search for missing persons, treat the injured, and support victims' families. He also instructed the National Steering Committee for Civil Defense to mobilize necessary resources to assist Hà Giang province in managing the situation. Vietnam has climbed 2 spots in the Global Innovation Index compared to last year. As reported by the World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO, it stands out as one of the 3 countries that have consistently surpassed their development levels for 14 consecutive years. This underscores the effectiveness of prioritizing resources, particularly human capital, to drive innovation.
Driven to improve early diagnosis of cancer and genetic diseases, Dr. Cao Anh Tuấn left his senior role at Google in the US and returned to Vietnam to establish Southeast Asia's largest center for AI-based gene decoding.
Overseas Vietnamese intellectuals and those working abroad returning to Vietnam present a valuable opportunity, thanks to the government's openness to science and technology.
Dr. Cao Anh Tuấn and nearly 2,000 Vietnamese experts from 20 countries and territories have formed the Vietnam Innovation Network. In partnership with the National Innovation Center, the network has incubated and connected 2,500 emerging domestic businesses, positioning Vietnam on global innovation map.
The meeting with the Party General Secretary and State President has boosted our confidence in the role of Vietnamese intellectuals in the country's innovation, with their support serving as a strong motivation for our contributions.
Many centers worldwide belong to economic groups, but none are owned or managed by the state or serve its interests. This is the first center of its kind. The NI's goal is not profit, but to provide services for innovation.
WIPO identifies institutions and human capital as key pillars of innovation. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh has emphasized Vietnam's commitment to these areas. The aim is to attract talent to develop science and technology as a driver for national development and progress in the new era.
An investment of $67 billion has been allocated for the largest and most modern project, which will have the longest construction timeline to date. This high-speed railway will run along the north-south route. Based on comprehensive and practical calculations, the current capital needed for the project is feasible and manageable.
For nearly 15 years, the high-speed railway project along the north-south axis has been studied and assessed. In 2010, with a GDP of $147 billion, the proposed investment of $56 billion accounted for 38% of GDP and pushed public debt to nearly 57%. However, with this year's GDP projected to exceed $465 billion, the $67 billion investment for the railway is no longer a significant barrier.
These projects are transformative. If they are done properly, if they're well prepared, these projects in other parts of the world have been transformative. Now, this is, of course, a project of strategic importance to the government of Vietnam, and we're looking forward to the progress of that project, in terms of...
The Ministry of Finance's assessment indicates that by 2030, all three criteria, namely public debt, government debt, and external debt, will be 5 to 15% below the allowable level.
Vietnam's public debt is currently 37%, well below the allowable level of 60%. By fully utilizing this potential, we could access $100 billion.
Vietnam needs to consider attracting additional resources for components such as stations and trains.
The high-speed railway project is expected to take 10 years to become fully operational, requiring an average annual investment of about $5.6 billion. This represents 24.5% of the public investment capital for 2021-2025, decreasing to around 16.2% for 2026-2030. These figures are manageable for the projected economy.
The Hạ Long International Cruise Port welcomed the Italian-flagged Costa Serena, carrying around 3,500 tourists from Hong Kong of China on September the 30th, according to the Department of Tourism. This is the first cruise ship to visit Hạ Long since storm Typhoon Yagi, marking the start of the cruise tourism season, which runs from October to April from now until the year's end. Quảng Ninh is expected to host 16 large cruise ships, bringing thousands of international tourists from Europe, America, and China. The early arrival of these ships signals a positive outlook for the cruise tourism industry. The Cat Day Festival, the largest celebration of the Cham ethnic group in Ninh Thuận, honors deities and ancestors who have helped the community. It occurs in the 7th month of the Cham calendar, typically in October. This year, people celebrated Cat Day with joy and excitement, as national programs have provided jobs and stable incomes, allowing them to welcome the festival warmly.
With a successful rice harvest and all 4 children employed, this year's Cat Day Festival at Thu's house is filled with laughter and joy.
This year, the rice harvest has been both high in yield and price, so we're celebrating the festival at home. We joyfully prepare to welcome the festival and honor our ancestors.
The locals have organized a community dance and cultural program featuring 350 non-professional actors. Their active rehearsals create a lively atmosphere leading up to the Cat Day Festival.
We practice day and night, and everyone is ready to celebrate the festival with enthusiasm.
As the Cat Day Festival approaches, artisans in Bo Chuk Pottery Village are busy crafting products that reflect Cham culture. A cultural space with thatched houses and earthen walls has been created, offering visitors opportunities to explore the life, customs, and preparation of Cham heritage.
We host cultural performances for visitors to showcase the pottery-making tradition.
Ninh Phước district, which has the largest Cham population in Ninh Thuận province at 51,000, allocated over $1.4 billion in 2024 to diversify livelihoods and support production. This investment has reduced the local poverty rate to 1.84%.
The party and state's policies have enhanced infrastructure and supported the Cham people's economy, boosting incomes and allowing them to joyfully welcome the traditional festival.
With careful preparation and unique cultural values, visitors will immerse themselves in the joyful atmosphere of the Gate Festival, leaving with lasting impressions of the Cham celebration in Ninh Thuận.
Coming up next in our world news, new LDP president announces snap October election. And U.S. East Coast ports brace for upcoming strike. Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party, or LDP, President Shigeru Ishiba announced on Monday that the general election will be held on October the 27th. On Sunday, Ishiba decided to dissolve the House of Representatives to facilitate an early election. The new LDP president stated that the late October date allows local election agencies ample time to prepare and gather public input on the new government's agenda. The Japanese National Assembly is expected to hold an extraordinary session to elect a successor to Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on Tuesday. Analysts believe that with the LDP holding a majority in the National Assembly, LDP President Shigeru Ishiba is likely to become Japan's 102nd Prime Minister. Retailers, automakers, and various businesses in the United States are concerned about potential seaport closures beginning from October the 1st due to an impending workers' strike. If wage negotiations between workers, representatives, and port officials fail, the strike will start on Tuesday. The conflict arises from the increased automation in port operations, which has led to a decrease in labor demand. Should no agreement be reached, 45,000 workers at over 30 U.S. ports could strike, disrupting operations or closing 5 of the 10 busiest ports in North America, as well as 36 ports along the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico. A 30-day strike at the ports of New York and New Jersey could lead to economic losses of $641 million per day and raise prices of goods just ahead of this year's holiday shopping season. A rare astronomical event, the Ring of Fire solar eclipse, will be visible in South America on October the 2nd, providing an exciting opportunity for astronomy enthusiasts. This eclipse occurs when the Sun, Moon, and Earth align, but because the Moon is farther from Earth this time, it won't completely cover the Sun, resulting in a ring of fire effect. The phenomenon is expected to last about 6 minutes and will also be visible from Easter Island and parts of Argentina and Chile. To view the eclipse safely, people should use special eclipse glasses. After the Ring of Fire event, there will be 2 more partial solar eclipses next year, followed by a total solar eclipse in 2026. decades of persistent efforts against desertification in and around Kekaya have paid off, generating economic and ecological benefits for this once arid land in Aksu Prefecture, located in northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. More on the ecological development in this next story.
Kekaya was once notorious for its tumultuous weather and ceaseless sandstorms. Faced with water shortages, high soil salinity, and a lack of heavy machinery, those pioneers who first engaged in the project rose to the challenge. 1 year later, the barren land of Kekaya showed its first signs of greenery.
We were planting trees almost every spring and autumn then. Since our shelter belt forest was planted, it has blocked the wind and sand from afar, helped keep our homes clean.
In the first decade of the afforestation project, Kekaya saw about 2,200 hectares of artificial forest completed and another 4,360 hectares in the second decade.
30 years ago, I planted over 2.6 hectares of land, but only 280 pear and apple trees survived. Now, 1/15 of a hectare of land can produce 3 to 4 tons of apples.
After relentless efforts spanning generations, the afforestation project in Kekaya has achieved over 80,000 hectares of afforestation. Kekaya's forest coverage rate rose from 8% in 1986 to 73% in 2020.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time. Goodbye for now.